Hello and welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is Phil Puddin Briggs and Adam Potato Peeler Hodgins.
For your birthday, I'm going to put a supercut together of all your intros.
Oh, please do. I would love that.
No, today I was like, I'm excited about doing this with you guys, but I was more excited about the intro. I'm like, what's he going to say? Two guys that I'm like, what's it going to be? And it's my favorite part of the podcast right now. It's all downhill from here.
And I never know. You know that. I always just sort of think of it right beforehand because sometimes I go for a long one, but this time I looked down at my notes and I saw Puddin. I'm like, okay. And I was flop sweating a little bit when I got to you, Adam, because I'm like, what am I going to call him? Then I looked down and I saw Potato Peeler. So I just went for Potato Peeler. So Puddin and Potato Peeler.
Yeah,
That's
it's actually
the three Ps.
So hot take, guys. What kind of potato peeler do you prefer? Do you prefer the one that looks like a knife with a center missing out of it, or the one that looks like kind of like the banjo one?
Whatever's the safest, because they terrify me. So whenever I have to use the first one that you mentioned, I always get stuck peeling potatoes.
Right.
It's a nightmare for me. It is.
Really?
I just flop sweat. It's bad. If you want to see a sweaty Mark, watch a Mark
give him a potato peeler. At the end of our movie, Mark, where you and I are henchmen.
Yeah.
Because this has been a developing story over a few podcasts, Phil. You'd be aware of that.
Yeah.
It'll come down to a scene where we gotta like they lock us in a room together and one of us comes out alive. And I'm just gonna slowly slide you a potato peeler. Just see what happens. See if you can handle it.
I thought it was gonna be like they lock you in a room and they throw a potato peeler down in between the two of you, and only one of you is coming out alive.
This is some Dark Knight Joker stuff right here. And
the tagline for the movie would be like, the finale is very appealing.
Oh. I'd let you have it. I couldn't kill you.
No, that's the thing, is we take not to spoil the movie, but like you throw the potato peeler at me, but we know what's happening because it's a movie practice. I duck, it goes into a security camera, the feed goes out, and then we make our daring escape.
Or we're so polite, like, you take it, no, you take it, you kill me, no, you kill me. And then eventually one of us gets stabbed because we ended up fighting over being too nice.
Exactly. Okay, Walking Tall. We need to get to this.
Real quick, 1 minute.
Yeah.
Letterkenny.
Yeah. How do you liking that?
Just started it, and I love it.
Do you get it? Like, being not from Canada, is it at all funny to you?
Oh, the humor. I mean, he talked about Florida State Seminoles the other day.
Right.
Like they drop a lot of topical. I mean, I'm sure I don't, I'm sure. No, I get it. I mean, you have maybe some of like the local, I don't know, dialogue maybe I don't get, but I mean, it's pretty universal themes. Got a sister, you fight, you're kind of bored, stay in a town, drink, you play hockey, you don't know if you're taking yourself seriously enough. Yeah, it makes sense to me. I love it. And there's Fart Book, of course. Everyone loves Fart Book. So Walking Tall.
Walking Tall.
The last time all three of us were together recording an episode, we also talked about another WWE film starring Ashley Scott.
Yeah.
and I'm going to suggest a future one that we talk about for our next episode.
Which one? The
Stone Cold Steve Austin Netflix show called Damage.
It's a movie?
Yeah, it's him and Walton Goggins as his underground fighting manager.
No way.
Yeah.
It's a new movie?
Yeah.
All right, 100%. I saw that message and I was like, for some reason I thought it was The Condemned. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Like,
it's called Damage. It's essentially Lionheart with Stone Cold.
Oh my gosh.
I'm in for that.
Is he wasting 80% of his beers and just pouring it on his head?
No, that would be amazing though. He hasn't got that kind of money.
I feel like you're a little bit of a Nostradamus.
Okay.
Adam, because I was talking to Megan about this, and Phil, if you remember during our 12 rounds episode, Adam said that he feels like Ashley Scott gets hired because she's tall for like being an actor in Hollywood, like an actress in Hollywood. And in the commentary, there's two commentaries I listen to. Dwayne Johnson, he's like, Ashley Scott, she's great, she's awesome, she's tall. So he put into words what you said. He explained she got cast because she's tall and she's cool.
No, often when I'm chatting with Dwayne, we talk about things that we have in common. We have similar thought patterns.
What else do you guys chat about?
We chat about like our workout schedules and how his is way more intense than mine. We talk about Scorpion King a lot. He hates it when I bring it up, but I talk about that movie a lot.
Your mutual love of tribal tattoos.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I bring up WrestleMania 15 a lot. He doesn't love that, but I bring it up a lot.
What happened there?
Well, that's where he lost to Stone Cold in the first of the Mania trilogy, right?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, no, the Stone Cold Rock Mania trilogy is amazing. But we should talk about Walking Tall. I want to keep us on track here so here's my Walking Tall bit. It took when we moved to Trenton in like 96. We had no TV, we had an antenna. So we had like 3 channels and 2 of them were fuzzy. And so it took me 4 years to convince my dad, who had like a really good job and like was doing well, that a satellite dish was not a bad idea. Like the small kind of the Bell Express view satellite dishes. So he got one 3 months before I went away to university. So we had 3 months of like satellite TV that was glorious in the house. And when it was back in the time you could like pick channels, right? You're like, okay, I want to have, and he'd be like, I want the hunting channel. But to get the hunting channel, he had to get like a package of other channels that came with it. One of which was called Drive-In Classics. It was a movie. I think it was Turner owned. It was a movie channel, but it was just drive-in level movies. And so the first night we turn our satellite dish on, we can watch anything in the world. This is 2000. So, we finally, the world is now opened up to us. We can watch anything we want in the world. And he goes, "Oh man, Walking Tall. I love that movie." And I was like, "What is Walking Tall?" So the first movie we watched on this thing was the 1974 Joe Don Baker Walking Tall movie.
Ooh.
And have you seen the original one, Mark?
I have not.
Okay, so it is a tour de force. It is the most anti like Hollywood movie out there. And it's very like it's based. So Walking Tall is based on a true story about a sheriff named Buford Pusser. That was his real name, and he was an ex-pro wrestler. So that ties into The Rock, who like retired from pro wrestling, moved back to his hometown with his wife and kids, and then saw how corrupt it was, and then got the big stick and ran for sheriff and fought the crime and whatnot.
His wife got shot.
Yeah, so this is the thing. The movie is so like true to the story. That's why it's anti-Hollywood. It is not a happy ending.
Mm-mm.
Like the movie ends with his wife being dead and Buford Pusser in a face cast. Like Joe Don Baker's face is covered by a cast at the end of the movie. So it's really like it's this gut-wrenching 70s kind of movie. But at the time I was really into like Billy Jack and like I was kind of like into that level of cinema. And then when this movie was coming out, I was like, oh man, this is going to be incredible. They're going to redo Walking Tall. And this one differed from the story so much. Like I remember being in the theater, I'm like, his name isn't Buford Pusser? What's this nonsense? So like immediate, I had disappointment in the movie from the get-go, but by the end it got me back. I was back in.
I mean, anytime you got, old Blue Eyes Neal McDonough hitting Dwayne Johnson with a board, it's a good movie. And anytime, like Phil said, like we were talking before we recorded, Phil, this is an 80-minute movie. I don't know why I'm laughing.
Flies by and hits some fantastic beats along the way. We got courtroom scenes. We got pickup football. We're tossing 2x4s through casino windows.
Yeah.
80 minutes flies by.
We're smashing taillights.
Like, there's no... I guess he wasn't supposed to do that. In the commentary, he was supposed to take a balsa wood thing and hit it, but the director and him had a misunderstanding. Like, it was really no one's fault. They both said, like, yeah, we just had a misunderstanding. And The Rock drilled that car with his piece of wood, and he actually busted out that tail light.
Yeah.
That's Kobe Smulders in there too.
Yeah, which I had no idea, and then noticed that on the rewatch and was scrolling deep into the IMDb to see if that was actually her.
I was like, no, it's not. I was like, I don't think it is. But then when I rewatched it, the credits were on. I'm like, that was Kobe.
Oh, yeah, it was her movie debut apparently.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, hanging out with Neal McDonough.
Yeah.
The Rock has come a long way.
Hold on. Kobe was in there with Neal, who was one of the Howling Commandos in Captain America: First Avenger.
Whoa, MCU.
There's the tie-in. There it is.
Oh man, I love how this movie wastes no time. Too, he immediately gets into a fight, and I think the MVP of this movie is the roulette. Aaron, the actor's name, the guy who does the roulette table who has like this, or like the dice, whatever.
The stick man. The stick man?
Yeah, stick man. Like he's so, oh man, like he walks away with this movie, and it's just, and then he gets into a fight and he gets cut up and then he heals in a week from massive internal cuts that a lesser man would have died from.
Yeah.
And then Aaron Douglas, he was in like Battlestar Galactica, like he used to do a lot of he was at the Toronto Comic-Con when you were there.
He
Adam,
sure was.
And so like then you have he heals up, he becomes sheriff, and then the gunfights happen. And then he fights Neal McDonough, and then the town's happy again. Like there's no this movie just flies by. It's 70s grit. It is not. That is for sure.
It's not 70s grit. I think the guy who should have won an Oscar for this movie was the kid who had to sleep in a tent outside.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like, hey, it's your uncle. He's come back from the military.
You ever murder anybody?
Yeah, out to the forest, like out to the lawn you go in your tent. It'll be fun. Trust us. I mean, it seems like there's a middle ground there. Like, sleep on the floor, get a sleeping bag, something. There's a garage next to their house, like a barn.
It's
not like the rooms are so small that they couldn't possibly fit 2 people in one.
Yeah, they just dumped him out in the front yard.
They just threw him out like trash.
I was like, why is he sleeping in a tent when there's he could sleep in that barn area or a couch?
Yeah. I don't know.
I gotta say though, Dwayne Johnson, he does a lot. He always has a sidekick in movies, whether it's Kevin Hart, Sean William Scott, Ryan Reynolds. Like he likes when you put him in, like, even Scorpion King. He had I forget his name, but he had
the little guy.
Yeah, and so I think Johnny Knoxville though is an A+ comedic side character because he walks out, he tells you his entire life story in the first minute you meet him. He calls The Rock puddin', and then he gets his back. He leaves the shower tower, gets his back, then hangs out with him, becomes a deputy, and they ride or die. And then he has a big fight at the end that's really clumsy and fun and kind of ugly. And then he becomes a deputy and they save the town. Like this is the friend you want to leave. Like you leave town, Phil, you come back eight years later. This is the friend you want.
Yeah.
Is
so
it?
No. So here's a flip from the original. I'm going to be this guy the whole episode. Is in the original, the deputy best friend he has
dies.
He's the black guy.
Oh yeah.
And nobody will respect him because they're like they won't listen to a black guy. And so this one they flip the races around.
Oh, they give him Knoxville.
They give him Knoxville, right? And the race is no longer an issue. So we've come a long way, guys.
Yeah.
We've done well. But no, so Knoxville's a combination of 2 characters from the original movie. One is a crazy friend who originally brings Buford to the casino the night he gets all cut up. So Knoxville kind of does that too. He's kind of that buddy, but he's a combination of 2 characters. The one who becomes the deputy and the one who brings him to the casino the first night.
Oh, I just like Knoxville. I had to watch Jackass and count every single yell in pain or scream in pain, every nut shot, every vomit. I had to I had to analyze every frame of Jackass, so I've spent a lot of time with Knoxville lately.
Jackass is one of those. Sorry, Phil, I cut you off. You go ahead.
I was just gonna say this is the new one that's just coming out.
Yeah, so I haven't watched that one yet, but I did the Jackass 1, 2, and 3, and then 2.5 and 3.5. But animal attacks, vomit, how much clothes were wrecked.
Yeah. It's incredible to me that those guys are still doing that stuff 20 years later. That they're all still like alive.
You know what's interesting? When I first started watching Jackass, and this is completely off of the Walking Tall thing, but I thought they were just a bunch of kind of random dudes being out there. But now that I watch them now, like these guys were like BMXers, skateboarders. Like I was watching Knoxville when he got hit by a bull, and he keeps his legs moving so to not keep them planted. Like he knows.
Right.
These guys know what they're doing. But yeah, I mean, some of the stunts that they do